You guys all ready? Yep. All right. So, God, the Bondi. Well, while you pick spells, um, from the best of my knowledge of what happened last time, was you guys had just finished investigating uh, Brotor's family home and found out that it was now a new family lived in there, seemingly innocent, and you stopped Dodric from setting it on fire. Uh, Dodric was upset by this, so he left. You couldn't find him. You all went back to the house. He arrived back at the house sometime later, uh, and you confronted him about why he wanted to kill everybody. And it was a pretty brutal interrogation, tying him up and all sorts of stuff. In the end, you decided to move on. You went and saw Rebecca. Chug also bought himself a suit of armor, finally protecting himself. But you went and saw Rebecca and asked about the crystals or what else you might go and investigate. And she suggested that there was a mage that lived up on top of the mountains in a tower, and perhaps he might be able to give some more info. So you guys got some horses, and on you went on your way. And during your first day of travels, you actually encountered, seemingly out of place, three fire snakes that was setting the path ablaze, and they attacked you, and you defeated them. You cut them up for meat and toasted them for dinner later that night, and you are now about to take a long rest, I believe. Had you taken a long rest? Do you remember if we'd finished it? Okay, cool. So it's bright and sunny. Hey, you can have that title. Yes, Devourer of Fiery Snake. Not sure if the. Cool. So it's now morning. It's about 8, 9 a.m. You guys have all woken up from having a full feast of flesh the day before. You're well rested. You still have a few days left on your journey, or expected full days. And the path that you're on still leads up the mountain. What are you guys doing? Ah, that's right. I remember. You saw something in the dark that got away. Sure. You head over to the horses, and they're all still tied up, seemingly unbothered. It's it's still, yeah, it's still got like marks of the wounds and such, but you did cast cure wounds, and you sealed the bleeding and such like that. So you can still see it's hurt, but um, it looks okay. Okay. Uh, can I get you to make a nature check, please? Oh, so survival. Survival's the right one here. 23. Um, it doesn't take you very long. You manage to yeah, go in the direction that Chuck pointed out. You see a few snap twigs in the ground. Uh, you see some manure from perhaps a wilderness beast, perhaps a goat or a large cow or something of the like. And you also see hoof footprints just here and there in the mud that lead away from the camp. No, the road's sort of, I suppose, on your right, heading off to your right. This is leading further into the wilderness. Alright, so you guys are continuing on your horses up the mountain path. Sure. Alright, well, are you going two abreast? Are you going... This road's probably wide enough to go two abreast. Three, you'd start being on the edges. As you look up the path, you can see that it's starting to become quite mountainous, and the terrain is becoming more difficult the further you progress up. Yes, you each have a horse. I don't think that is doable. I don't think you can change the appearance of something. You can. Uh, Alright, so you're riding at the back. Alright, so I've got Chug and Lefner at the front, and Juan and Doderick at the back. Is that correct? Cool. Alright, so you guys head up the path. Um, you travel seemingly without incident or without anything of interest happening for a couple of hours. You know, just general chatter and such about you guys. Now, are you guys just making a casual pace? Are you going a fast pace, or are you being slow and cautious as you go up this path? Medium well done horse. All right. Cool. Alright, so for a few hours, you make good pace or good time heading up this hill. There's a couple of parts where you have to sort of veer in and go one at a time to go past like a steep cliff edge or where trees and such have fallen on the road. But nothing else uh, of a major incident happens. Um, it gets to about lunchtime. You guys stopping to eat, or are you just eating on the way? Get you to roll perception, please. 5. The road is quite. You look around for a clearing and such, and you don't see one. The road seems to be pretty thick with wilderness and shrubs, trees on both sides of the path as you make your way up the cliff. Actually, this is probably more on the right hand side. On the left hand side, it is starting to clear, but you're getting into a cliff's edge and a drop immediately on the left of the path. Is there a what? Sorry. Fast travel point. Ah. uh, no, there is no coffee drive-through. Um, Chug and Chug, can I get you to roll a perception, please? 18. So you've been traveling for about an hour or so after eating for lunch and stopping for a quick rest. You start to smell smoke in the air, and you other three, you also begin to smell a little bit of smoke, just very faint. No, it's wilderness burning smoke, like bonfire smoke. At this point, no, it's just very faint. However, you've obviously just started to smell it now that you're traveling up the path, so you feel that it's certainly not from behind you, but from somewhere up ahead. As for the direct, yeah, all right. So you now start to slow down, taking a lot more notice of your surroundings as you move up the path. Um, Chug, on your right and left now, you see this as well. On the path as you're going up, you're starting to see just small singed bits of ground, like burnt here. You see on the trees are a little bit burnt, and you see that these burn marks continue off into the wilderness on your right. Keep in mind that you've got a cliff drop on your left. So the path. So if you imagine the setting is that the path is continuing up the hill. You have a cliff on the left of the path, and the path sort of rounds very, very slowly. It's hooking to the right as it climbs. On the right, you've got wilderness, forest sort of areas leading back into further. You're on a mountain, so it's getting higher and higher, but got a lot of tree and greenery on the right, and this is the greenery that you're seeing that's burnt, and there seems to be a burnt path sort of heading off on the left. Now, the road that you're sort of following, it isn't a sealed road. It's mostly been trodden from um, various travel up and down through here. It's a mix of sort of a bit of a grass and sort of rock, just crushed rock and such like that. As in the burnt path heading off. Um, get you to make perception, please. 13. You can't see any footsteps, although the singes and burn marks are quite low to the ground. There's not a burn mark on a tree that hasn't started from the bottom and sort of burnt. You can see where a flame has sort of burnt up a tree or a shrub, but there isn't a burn mark that sort of started anything higher than your knees. That they did. Uh, these burn marks, however, are somewhat fresh. You can still see the cinders and such in them. I guess you roll investigation. 12? Yes, you would draw the conclusion that they are similar. Alright, what are you doing? Okay, so you're finding where are you tethering them? Just on the path, or are you finding a place off? Okay, okay. So you walk off the path. You find a nice little sort of a very small little drop, but it's able to conceal the horses visibly from the path anyway. And you tether all four from there. Um, and you begin to follow the the burning path that's sort of laid out for you. And you follow this path for maybe 20, 30 minutes very carefully. Uh, are you going single file? Or, yep, who's going first? Yep, Chug then. Alright, give me 2 seconds. Now you're taking this as a slow pace. You're carefully looking around as you're progressing. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. So you follow and carefully track these paths. Chuck, can I get you to roll survival, please? With advantage because you're being assisted with everybody else. 17. Cool. So you follow these paths. Like every now and then you'll see the track, it disappears, but you're able to pick it up on quite soon. And you get to a small crest, and as you come over the crest, the forest area starts to clear out, and below the crest you can see a bit of an opening, a bit of a clearing, in that as it drops down, it sort of drops down maybe 3 or 4 meters, and then flattens out into a decent sized area, maybe 20 meters, about 30 or 40 meters back, and then at the back of that you can see cliff edge or mountain edge heading up into the sky as you're at the base of a mountain. What you see is, actually, can I get your roll perception for me, please? Just to see if you can make out exactly what this is. 2. um, what you see is two large humanoid figures. Uh, that's all I can say with that roll. Two large humanoid figures with their backs turned towards you in the distance. Uh, you at this range, you don't know. They would be more than 60 feet away. Can I get you to make an? Are you trying to hurt them with that rock? They're more than 60 feet away. Can I get you to make an athletics check, please? Hey, athletics. You've picked up a rock and you're attempting to throw it. 8. So you pick up a large sort of stone, but it's pretty big for your little size, and you do sort of hurl it, but you only get it about 20 feet or so away from you, and the figures do not seem to have noticed you, or have noticed the sound of this rock as it hit the ground. Perception. Sorry, can you just quickly tell me what skill that is? Oh, actually, no, I can find this here. That one. Uh, yeah, sure. So, you start playing the bagpipes, and you play them loud, and this does get the attention of these two huge figures. They turn around, and they start to walk closer, and as they do, they get you know they get about 40 feet away, and you see that these aren't just typical sort of humanoids, but these are actually two large ogres with clubs in their hands, and you hear them go, "Oh, what's that noise?" And then he says, "Oh, it's awful! No, you make it stop!" And then you see he starts going, lumbering towards you and just rushing towards you guys. Can I get you to roll initiation, please? Hey, 4. Initiation. So, yeah. Yep. All right. All right. Give me 2 seconds to set up the map and the board, and then we'll get into this. Oh, you've walked away from it. That's to your back. Like, you the correct. You can turn and leg it, head back towards the cliff. I, yeah, ogres are big. So I don't know, get up and grab a drink. This might take me a few minutes. Actually, that's one. I gotta find a token for these guys. Actually, yeah, we'll use a map for this. I'm just trying to quickly set it up. Yeah. I was like, where's one? Because I'm trying to find his token from the previous map. There's got to be an easier way to import all the tokens from other maps, but I'll have to figure that out a different time. That's trolls. Oh, these guys are big. All right. Here again. Nice. Cool. Alright, so place yourselves where you believe you are. Fortunately, this is the best map I've got for a clearing, so you'll just have to work around the trees. Um, Behind you, or down to the bottom of the screen, is where you come from. Y- Is that better? Alright. These two huge lumbering ogres just start sprinting at you, and like, stop that noise! Um, Chug, however, you're the first to move. What do you do? No, I got you as 14, Juan and Doderick at 11. Okay. Okay. Cool. So next, Juan and Doderick, you can, because you got the same initiation, you can discuss it amongst yourselves who goes first, if you wish. They're probably just a little bit more. Yeah. Uh, yeah, I'll get you to roll, make a stealth check. Yep. Cool. No, no advantage just yet. So the ogres are sort of coming at you. But... All right, so you're hidden. Now they are ogres. I'm sure you can imagine just how well they do against that sort of stuff. One, you'll go. Give me 2 seconds. I'm actually just trying to work that out myself. I always roll for stats. Holy shit, I can't math today. My head is just brain farting everywhere. Um, no, they look very similar. Alright. Yeah, roll to hit. 11. You. Ooh, okay. You hit. Roll damage. Three damage. Uh, what colors are they? One's like a red and one's a blue, isn't it? Yeah. I'll say that you've gone for the blue one, in this case, apples. So you let go a crossbow bolt and it just sort of hits and sticks on his shoulder. You just hear, oh! And then, yeah, not much else happens. But you have hit him. Uh, Next is the ogre's turn, and after getting hit in the shoulder, that blue ogre just starts lumbering forward. Where is my little hand tool? That's the ruler. So he is just going to move straight up to Chug with his full movement. And he's going to slam at you with his mighty club. He gets up really close. He goes, "Yeah, you're small." He just sort of comes overhead with this giant club, but he just sort of, you are Ackles there, and your nimbleness, you just sort of step aside. He just slams into the ground with the club. As it hits, you just feel the ground just like shudder and shake. The second one is also going to use the sprint or the dash action, and he's going to. Oops, I'm on the wrong window. And he's going to move straight up as well. Get up right next to you. And you're completely taken aback by just how quick this thing can move when he wants to move. And this huge ogre just starts sprinting and just boom, 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 and it just sort of comes to a quick halt right in front of you, Chug. And you just see saliva and such is just coming down. He's just grasping his club and just getting ready. Lefner, it is your turn. Okay. Do I need to roll to save? Cool. What's the DC? He got -1. So which color are you going for? Sorry. The red one? Okay. Seven damage. Shit. Okay. That's huge. It's reaction. Okay. Anyway, it must. Yeah. So the next is he feared, or is it just this turn he has to run away? Okay. So he did. Now I haven't read up on this rule, Apples. He does still have movement left. Can he use the Okay. Okay. Yes, this does provoke an attack of opportunity. So what's happened is you've cast this spell. You just see the ogre just stop and get just almighty and just confused just for a second. And he goes, "Argh!" He just sort of hits his head, takes one look at left, and goes, "Argh!" Just sort of like big eyes and just spins his back and just legs it. And as he does, roll attack, Chuck. 16. That hits. Roll damage. 12. So as he starts to leg it, you just just quickly follow him, just crack the bottom of his legs, and he just sort of trips and stumbles, falls face forward, and he just sort of gets up and keeps going. Um, it is sure. Okay. Very good. So new round, Chuck. It's your turn. All right. Roll attack. That hits. Roll damage. All right. So you can cast that as a bonus action. I In the order, I'm not sure if you can interrupt your action to cast a bonus action. That would be. Right. I think beforehand you have to cast it first, but I'll allow it to go this time. But I think you got to say I cast this first. Ah, does it? Okay. 11 damage. Nice. So you just channel this holy energy. Your weapon just glows white. And you just slam the maul into the knee of the ogre because he's like towered. He's like 18 feet tall. And so you just sort of come up to his waist or just past his waist. So as you crack them all into the side of his knee, he sort of buckles a little bit and lets like, "Argh!" And yeah, so you've hurt him. So sorry, that was 12 damage, yeah? 11. Very good. Juan and Dodric, here's your turns. Okay. So he hasn't noticed you with your stealth roll, so you are hidden. So, and I believe when you make an attack from when you're hidden, you roll with advantage. That is correct. Yes. Yep. Correct. So roll away. Onto hit. Yeah. You most certainly hit. Yep. Yep. Okay. That hits. Roll damage. Yep. Nice. So you just sort of you run in underneath his legs and just sort of stab straight up with both of them. You just hear, "Ah!" He sort of like jumps up and down a little bit. As you stab, you've hit a vein and his blood just sort of pours out and sort of, lands on top of you a little bit. You've hit a real strong hit with him, and he's not looking too well after that. One, it's your turn. Yep. He fails. How much damage? 5. That is poor, considering what James rolled on 3d6. It's like the complete opposite. All right. The ogre turns around and starts to leg it. Chug and Doderick, you can burn an attack as your reaction. You hit. Roll damage. And Chug, you get to. Actually, no, you've had a turn. So yeah, you get another reaction. No, it's a reaction. So as they run away, they provoke an attack of opportunity, which you can use your reaction to do. Now, if you use your reaction to do anything else, like counterspell or something like that, you obviously can't do it. But yeah, and you only get one reaction. So if two monsters flee, you only get to hit one of them. How much damage? 6 damage. Cool. What do you get for your attack, Chuck? 6, you miss. So as he runs over Dodric, you do a really good job of sort of stepping aside as he turns above you. But as he does, you sort of cut the back of his calf as he runs, and you let this nice little cut. But he's just hauling it, just boom, boom, and sort of you feel the shake. He's like, little human, he just runs off. Chug, you have a go, but you're just a bit too slow, and he gets away on you in time. Is that the end of your turn 1? Yep, cool. So the ogre, he gets right to the back, and he sort of stops. He's like, man, I hate you, and he just picks up a sizable tree and snaps it. And with one hand, he just cleans all the branches and stuff off, and he picks it up and then hurls it like a javelin right back at you, Dodric. uh, that's a 16 to hit. Oh, all right. Next time you're too late. No, next time. Next time you're too late. Well, that's a 15. Does 15 hit, Dodric? It's in the sin bag now. Does 15 hit, Dodric? Oh, you did it. You just saved it. Alright, so this makeshift javelin just hurls straight past you. And just the hair of your skin, you just step to the side and whoosh, it just comes past, narrowly missing you. Yoga at the back then, he's just sort of fit with rage, like, he's just sort of screaming at you guys from the back. The other ogre sort of pivots, and he, yeah, he turns around and then charges Chug again. Sorry, let me just fix these guys up. He comes flying back in, and just with his club, he lets loose this massive swing as he comes charging at you. That is a 16 to hit, I think. Let me just double check. 17 to hit. Apologies. That hits. I got to find new dice. That one. That's 9. You take 9 take 9 damage as the club just sort of strikes and just cracks you against the shoulder. It's a bit of a glancing hit. It sort of bounces and comes up, but you just feel an immense pain as this club just sort of smashes into your armor. It is your go, Lefner. He was. Yeah, he's looking very worse for wear. Like, there's blood gushing out from mostly underneath, like from his legs and such. They're now stained a thick red. Oh, does that do that? Does it? Ah, okay, sure. Yep, sounds good. Sure, roll attack. 19, you hit. Roll damage. Four damage. Cool. She let go this bolt of force and just sort of hits him, just sort of strikes him into the chest. You see most of it just sort of absorbed, but it stutters him for a second. He just sort of stands, then recomposes himself once more. Are you doing anything else? Okay. Top of the round again. Chug. It's your turn. Okay. Okay. All right. Roll attack. 20. That's okay. You hit. So he has to make a strength saving throw with advantage. Oh, he got a 12. Against your spell DC. Oh, he passes. Roll an 8 and a 7. 7 damage. Cool. So yeah, you swing your maul again and just crack it into like his waist, and you just feel it shudder, and you bring the maul back, feeling satisfied. You've dealt a good amount of damage into him. He just sort of grunts. He's like, he sort of hits it, but he's still sort of overpowering, looking above you. Juan and Dodric, you'll go. All right, roll damage. I'm sorry. Yes, apologies. Correct. 19, you hit. It's such a low AC. Yep. So, you don't have advantage on this one. Ah, okay. Uh, actually, you're about 10 feet away with where you are. Sorry. So you drive your. Ah, okay. Then yes, roll damage. Yep. So you strike into um, into the ogre. You sort of parkour him a little bit and drive it straight into his underarm. Both blades cutting deep. You sort of pull down a little bit, jump off, and he just goes, run! And blood just starts pouring out. He tries to swat you off. This guy's got blood coming out from everywhere now. He's breathing heavy and slow. He's lumbering. He's looking really exhausted. Uh, One, it is your turn. Red one? Yep. That hits. Roll damage. 7. Uh, so you fire this crossbow, just leaves the crossbow, and you nail him straight into the head, and he just stops, pauses, then falls to his knees, and bang, falls to the ground, completely lifeless. um, the other ogre, seeing his companion, I suppose, fall, he gets gets frightened, and he turns and he just legs it backwards in an effort of self-preservation, and uses his dash action and dashes 80 feet behind. He does disappear off into the back. You can see where he's going with the ruffles of trees and such, um, but I believe he's well out of range of any spell attacks or anything. um, he'd be at about 120 yards at least at the time of Lefner's turn. Um, let one go. No? Correct. Yep. That's right. We won't do the map. Don't worry about that. He's like well and truly off it. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That hits. 13. Oh, you set off this eldritch blast, and you manage to calculate just perfectly where he's going to be at the top by the time the blast hits him, and it smacks him well and truly true into the side of the face. You just see him go and just fly to the side, and caress and sort of fall down into the trees. You don't see any further movement, and he's fallen out of sight. The ogres wear like animal hides as like loincloths and stuff to sort of sagging over and just covering their crutch area. You check for a cock ring in the grass. Um, no, there is no cock ring. The ogre does not do that to himself. Roll to investigate harder. 19. You investigate. However, uh, you know that ogres are greedy collectors. And while this one was not carrying anything, you know that ogres generally keep a stash of shiny collectibles that they take from their victims. Um, you check over this one, but you do not find anything on this one, so you assume that something must be nearby. Apologies. Sorry, can you repeat that? Sorry, I thought you were talking to everyone else for a second. Say it again. Okay, can I get you to roll investigation? Are you all going to do this collectively as a group? At the moment, yeah. Well, you haven't started to check for the tracks just yet. So I'm just asking, like, are you all doing it? Are you going to make each of you going to make your own roll, or are you going to assist and help one person do try and do it? Okay, who's making the roll? Alright, so you check down. With the help of everyone, you're able to very easily see where these ogres have come from. You know, it is, apart from the clearing that you're in, it is sort of thick wilderness and such, and you can see the trail of snapped branches and twigs. They do sort of head back the way that um, the ogre had come from. You as a group all start to follow and head that way, and you find the other ogre just dead as a doornail, laying on the ground after a couple of minutes walk. Left a truly did striking him completely down. Uh, sure, roll away. What are you in particular looking for? To see if he's dead or? All right. Five. Like, do you make an attempt, or are you just looking to see if you know how to do this? So Dodric, this little halfling, this ogre has fallen back up head first. He goes to the head, he turns it up and just starts giving it mouth to mouth. This little mouth is on this big. He's got to push the lips together and sort of push the breath in. He tries. The ogre, it just doesn't move. He's got blood on his lips. He tries for a good 3 or 4 minutes. Nothing. And lays there limp. Sure. Can I get you to roll investigation? 17. So you backtrack a little bit after thinking, why are these ogres still here? You backtrack a little bit and you find that the ogres actually had like a little spit set up and they were sort of roasting a little bit. And you see a dead fire snake which has been skewered across and they were just sort of burning and cooking it. It was sort of like tucked in behind a couple of bushes and trees. That's why you missed it on the way of following the ogres. You didn't have tunnel vision of loot. Yes, they hadn't eaten it yet. They were still cooking. Whole snake is still there, burning. The underside now is a little bit black. It hasn't been turned in a few minutes. Can I get you to roll a constitution check, please? 14. You take a bite, and you immediately know that this isn't right. Like, it feels dead in your mouth, and you sort of chew, and it's tough and still sort of, it's tough to bite in. You get a good mouthful, and it just feels a bit. Ugh. You swallow it down anyway. Sort of thinking, nah, I've got this. I've got a rather hearty stomach, but it starts to feel a bit. You have second thoughts. Do you continue? Okay. All right. So, no, you guys go. Are you doing anything else before you continue? All right. So you head back to the other dead ogre, which the Bondi was making out with, and then you continue a little bit further, and up ahead you find in a small clearing of rocks there's this very very small makeshift little cave. Enough, like not enough for you to go in, but in it is sort of buried as a couple of haversacks, and they are filled with shiny glitters and such like that. You rummage in, and you find a bent longsword. You find a couple of very scratched up short swords. One has had the top broken off. You find 20 gold pieces, 36 silver pieces, and about 50 copper pieces in amongst this bag as well. And you find, hey, oh, you as a group, you're all collectively sort of just going through it. Up to you. If you're trying to make a snatch for the lion's share, I can get you to make a. Yeah, probably sleight of hand's correct, and then anybody else was, or probably dexterity, because are you trying to do it without? You're all sort of looking at it, so it'd have to be dexterity. You're trying to snatch it before anybody else. Sleight of hand is trying to do it without being noticed, and I don't think you could get away with that considering everybody's so focused. You can try if you want. No, I think if you're, are you trying to snatch the bag and go? 20 gold. I don't know. I find it very difficult when you're holding something in front of you to not notice that it's gone. So you guys, dexterity. So can I get? So you're trying to snatch from everybody else. Let's say I'm going to roll and see who's actually holding the bag and going through it. And that is a Chug is holding the bag, and you're trying to snatch this away from Chug. So I get you to make a dexterity check, please. And Chug, can I get you to make a strength check, please? You're trying to hold on to it. 23. Dodek, you try and grab the sack from Chug, and he's sort of holding on to it. Unfortunately, he keeps hold of the bag. There is also a strange white cloudy orb. Left now. S- Can you roll an Arcana check, please? Yes. $16. Um, you being a warlock, you've seen and heard of these before. This is a wizard's orb, in such that you're able to peer into it, and you're able to regain some of your focus, some of your magical focus. As a result, you get to regain one of your level 1 spent spell slots. Uh, no, they are a sort of a once per day. You can peer into it, you regain it today, but it does not expel nor does the orb deplete. Unless somebody was to destroy the orb or to cast a spell magic or something along the lines. Now, I'm not sure how this works with a warlock because all of your spells get cast at a certain level. However, this is specifically a level 1 spell slot. Yeah, so I'll double check, but I'm not sure if this is something that you can use. Sure. I'll let it go until I confirm. Now, if one of you, if you can add into your notes or your inventory just Orb of Wizardry, I haven't created this item on D&D Beyond yet, so I had 20 gold, 35 silver, 52 copper. 5 gold, you'll have 8 silver with 3 silver spare, and you will have uh, why can I not think of that? Uh, you'll have 13 copper each. 13 copper? No. Yes. Yes, that's right. That was 52, so it should be 13 each. Okay. I get you to make. Alright. Can you make an investigation, please? 17. You have a look around. You do find a couple of very dirty tubs of water, like these vases or something. It's sort of made of like a porcelain nature, but they're all. It's not human made or hasn't been sort of been stolen. These ogres look to have made this themselves somehow, either by grinding out rocks or whatnot. But they are filled with water. You do find several skeletons and other discarded animals. You find a sort of human skeleton who's had the unfortunate of being bested by the ogres and eaten. Uh, the human is unrecognizable. There's no usable cloth or anything. Like he's been put on the spit. Everything's burnt, flesh is chewed off bones and such like that, and it's been decomposing for a good, I don't know, weeks or so. It's all dried out and very skeletal. Um, Aside from that, you just see the disgusting sort of living area where there's this sort of a makeshift sort of very very crude couple of beds where these two were residing. I guess you make perception. It's a mountain. A couple of trees, a few shrubs, but there's nothing of interest. It's just a mountainous edge. Okay. You guys head back to your horses. It's starting to get fairly late in the afternoon now. The sun has gone past the mountain and still got a few hours of daylight before you reached dusk. But you make your way back to your horses, and your horses are still there. A couple of them sitting down, waiting. They obviously couldn't move very far. You untether them, you jump back on them, and continue off along the road back towards the tower. You have lost a bit of time dealing with the ogres. Do you attempt to make up that time? So you were going at a stealthy pace at that part. You can still smell the smoke in the air, although the air is now getting heavy. And can I get uh, can you get you all to make a survival check, please? 16. I said a very easy DC. You guys almost uh, flunked that. But you're getting a similar smell that a storm is coming. You look up and you can see the clouds starting to roll over there, thick and deep. And you that smell before it starts to belt down with rain. You're getting that on your nose. Okay. Can I get each of you, Chug and Doderick, are you guys assisting anybody? Are you doing anything to help? You can certainly try. There's plenty of trees around. Uh, I get you to make a strength check. And like, are you pushing it over with your fists? Are you using your maul to knock it over? Can you roll strength with advantage? You've got this big half orc pushing on this tree, and right behind him, pushing on his butt, is this little halfling just sort of pushing and helping as well. 21. The tree snaps and falls over. You have this sort of medium size now twig. It's a pretty long tree. It's about a 15-foot tree. Branches are everywhere. Sort of gets cold down. Leaves go everywhere as it falls. But you've now got a tree. Uh, Up to you what you want to do with it. Lefner and Juan, can I get each of you to make investigation rolls, please? As you are looking for each of your bits. 14. Uh, Lefner, you walk up and down, sort of looking for cliffs, generally peering over the cliff's edge. Unfortunately, you only see just the mountain sort of sloping away. One, you, however, do find a clearing. You backtrack to where the horses are, remembering that you saw a bit of a widening gap between the trees there. And you do find a very small clearing, which is quite sheltered, and it's sort of flat, mostly grass there, no rocks. It'd be an ideal spot for a tent. So, are you going to continue to build your own chug, or is everyone going to go and reside in the tent? Ah, so you're not actually tying yourself so your arms and legs are bound. You're actually just tying yourself so you don't fall. Right. Only if your boots are sort of sitting on there. If all right. So I'm just trying to think about how I'm going to do this. Uh, I'll get you to make a athletics check for this because you're going. I'll get you to make both, please. And I will give you DM's inspiration for this. Uh, I can't remember. It used to be on the sheet. I think you get advantage on a roll of your choosing. Okay. Now, before you roll, yeah, okay, all right. I was gonna say you have to announce advantage before you roll. All right. Roll again. See what the other result was going to be. Well, the 20 worked there, and then now you've wasted the 6 on the next one, so you're good now. So you found an excellent tree. It's actually the stump of it is huge, is wide enough for you just to walk. You couldn't hug around it. Not even Chug or the ogres could hug around it. It's quite thick and solid. It has these monstrous branches that sort of spindle out. Perfect for you to get up and sit in and not easily be blown out or fallen out. And likewise, this tree you've chosen because you know the storm's coming. It's going to get windy, and this tree isn't going to sway. So you've gone up and got into it. I get you to roll a strength check, please. Or the athletics check, please. Athletics, sorry. 14. So you get up, and while you're up top, like because of your height, you do find it difficult to reach up and grab branches and sort of snap them down and create like a little makeshift little ledge and shelter underneath. But you do manage to do it. It takes you a couple of hours or so. The group is the other three are sort of hiding in the tent, and they have been in there for some time now. But you've just been patiently snapping and arranging like a bird's nest sort of arrangement on this branch that you have. After a couple of hours, you have yourself quite the upstairs perch. The way that you come would be the most open way there, and being the reason that you found it, like you were able to quickly find this smallish sort of clearing where your horses are tied up. Which, by the way, are they still tied up there, or have you moved them to this new area? Okay. So that first area you're at, you just found like a few meters of flat sort of bushland underneath some trees that was sort of empty from shrubs and such like that. From there, you were able to see a bit of a clearing to where like this is thick bush, trees, shrubs everywhere. So it is very difficult to sort of move through. But from where the horses were, you were able to see basically a straight path to open grass. So looking down, you're able to assess that if anybody was to be noticed, it would come from the way that you were. Yep. Sure. All right. Now, do you have like when you say somebody other than who is that? Does the spell have specific indicators on how that is triggered? Okay. Yep. It's not asking for creature types. It's asking for creatures. So you would designate. Now, does it have a maximum amount of creatures you can designate? Doesn't say. All right. So I would say that you would say the horses won't set it off and the party won't set it off. Anything else will. Now it says yes. Yep. Because you can play as an array of different creature types. Dwarf, human, elf. Like you're all essentially creatures. And then you get into the further where you can actually role play as an ogre. Like in some cases you can pick ogre as a class or whatnot. Now it says tiny creatures too, right? Yes. So a squirrel will set it off. Yep. Okay. So now, but casting the spell now, you guys aren't going into the full rest just yet. A full rest is 8 hours. So do you want to hold off on that spell for when? Yeah. Very good. All right. So you guys are sort of kicking it in for the night. You set up, you eat some of your rations and all that sort of such. Uh, who is taking first watch now? The storm is well set in now. You've got a rumble in the sky of thunder, and thick, heavy rain is starting to pat down onto the tree canopy above, with a lot of water sort of making its way down. Hey, it is dark now. I get you to make an animal handling check. 16. Yeah. So you have to go with the horses, and you turn into a bit of a horse whisperer. They're a bit unsettled and spooked with the thunder. They're trying to pull on their reins and their tether, but you're able to sort of calm them down, and they just sort of sit down and just now weather the storm without any worries. Uh, all right. So you guys will be setting in for a long rest. Who's taking watch and in what order? Cool. All right. So everyone goes to sleep. Dodrick, you cast your alarm spell in the area, and Chug can I get you to make a perception roll, please? 12. So the storm is like mostly the brunt of the storm is starting to pass, but the rain is starting to get a bit heavier. The lightning and thunder is sort of calmed off, and now the thicker clouds are sort of rolling in. Because of that, it's very hard to hear. It's very hard to see as well. Um, However, you do keep a keen eye out, but at this point, everything seems still for your watch. Your watch comes to an end. Uh, you do notice a bit of a leak in the tent, and you're able to sort of move the fabric around and just sort of direct the water flow off and spare everybody from getting wet inside the tent. Lefner, you're now awoken by Chug to do your watch. I'll get you to roll a perception, please. 19. Um, the storm starts to calm down a little bit, however, it's still raining. Because of that, you're able to keenly watch out and see a little bit more in the night. However, with the storm and the rain, it seems to have calmed at least a lot of the wildlife, and they seem to be still. 2 hours go by seemingly uneventful, um, and you'll retire from your watch. Dodrick, so you, how do you awake Dodrick up in his tree for his watch? Yes. Dodrick, you wake up to the very surprise of whack, 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 and if, for a second, you're a bit puzzled as to where you were, because you thought you were, by yourself, and you're waking up and you're sort of feeling that you're now somewhere else that you're not. Um, However, now is the magic hand that's invisible? Yes, the mage hand. Okay, yeah. So this sort of ghostly white hand with a bluish tinge and glow is just sort of slapping you, and now is just hovering like Adam's family thing just in the middle of the air, and then you realize what's happened. It's time for your watch. Um, you go to pat it, and your hand just goes straight through it. It's rather odd. It feels cold. Um, all right, it's your watch, Doderick. I'll get you to roll perception, please. 19. Uh, so the storm has started to set back in a little bit. The rain has picked up once more. Everything is soaked. However, you've done a pretty good job with your shelter. It's kept you, for the most part, quite dry. Although the belting of the rain is starting to win over, and a couple of parts of your shelter are starting to fall in just from the weight of the water building up on top. Um, if you continue to let it build up, part of your shelter may be damaged, and it may interrupt your rest. A part of your watch, yes, you could repair it. It may. Let it go. Okay. Um, okay. Cool. Uh, your watch also goes through rather uneventful until the end. It gets to that last 30 minutes or so before your watch, and in your head you hear this quite loud ping, this very loud sort of high-pitched sound coming from seemingly nowhere. You believe it would be. This is the first time you've cast and used this spell. Uh, and it's the first, and it is what you make sense of it. It seems to be coming from directly inside your head. There does not seem to be any audible direction of this sound. You do, but it is very, very dark. Now, you also don't have dark vision. It makes it very difficult to see down there. Yep. Yep. Okay. Can I get you to make, because it's still raining and still thundering quite loudly, can I get you to make a stealth check with advantage? 26. Uh, Almost without a sound, you go straight down the tree. You don't touch a branch, do not set off any sort of movement. You hit the ground likewise, and you just beeline straight from your um, straight to where you've cast your spell to have a look around. It is dark. It is very dark. Can I get you to roll perception, please? 18. Um, Given how dark it is, you're still able to sort of see straight through. And for a brief moment, the moonlight sort of comes out from beneath the clouds, and the storm sort of settles right as you're at the point. Um, However, you do not see anything. There doesn't appear to be anything else around. Now, the spell, can you? Does it just trigger it? Does it say how long it triggers it for? Is the spell used up once something has triggered and then needs to be recast? Or is it active for the full 8 hours and you get the alarm while there's something in it and then it goes off? Yep. Until the spell ends. So I'm going to say this spell, you will get the alarm while there's something in the circle. You will not get the alarm while it's not, and it will stay there. Now, as you've... Yeah. Ah. Okay. Um, well, we'll just say it's a handbell in it. So, mental, handbell, the same thing. You get the ding, 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 ding. Um, Now, again, it does it for 10 seconds. So, you get the alarm, you go down, you have a look, nothing's there. Um, can I get you to make investigation, please, while you look for this area? 21. You do find an area that does have vision of the tent, vision of the path coming in, the way you think of it, and the area that you've watered. And you move to that silently and just watch and listen. And for a few minutes, nothing happens. But after that period of time, again, you get the ding, 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 ding in your head. And you have a look. And only just slightly do you catch the end of a very little and very faint red bushy tail as it skitters through the alarmed area. Okay. So you ready your attack action. You got the dagger ready to get it once it comes. And you wait a few more minutes. And it passes. You wait a few more minutes more. Then again, you get ding, 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 ding. And very quickly, you see this little bushy tail come in, stop, and you see a little squirrel head just pop up from beneath uh, from behind a bush. And you throw a dagger. Can I get you to make an attack roll, please? So this dagger just strikes straight into the neck of the squirrel, and with such force it flies backwards a bit. You hear this slight little squeak as it sort of takes it, but it goes silent and it skitters out of sight. Can I get you to make another stealth check, please? Actually, sorry, sleight of hand in this case, because you're trying to place something and not get noticed. So sleight of hand, please. Not natural. So you take the squirrel. Do you leave the dagger in it? Do you use the dagger to pin it? Okay. So you use the dagger. You find a bit of wood on the tent and you pin through the edge of the tent. You pin this squirrel, and like light red blood is dripping down the side of the tent, and it's just above the door, just on the right hand side. Uh, it's now the end of your watch, and seeing where you are, you now wake up one. Oh, how do you wake up one? So you cast your mage hand, and with crazy force, with pent-up rage from soiling your pants, you just let this massive crack as hard as the spectral hand would. And one sort of topples and slides and sort of grabs it. Is woken up, you know, as a fright. Is woken up, and then it's whack, whack, whack another 3 times on either side. And he comes up, he looks to the door of the tent, and he sees you. Just giving a wave. Your watch, mate, and then you disappear and go back up into your tree. One, it's now your watch. You've been brutally awoken. Can I get you to roll perception? 10. Um, the storm is now cleared off. It is early morning. You are really tired, being woken up in such a way. Can I get you to make a Constitution check, please? 13. Your eyes feel heavy. You're almost fallen back asleep, but you manage to keep yourself awake for the remainder of your watch. You sit at the base of the tent and you look out. You do get out and sort of wander around just lightly, not straying far from the tent. But on the way back in, you see this very bushy thing stuck to the side of the tent. You see that it is a squirrel and it is pinned there with Dodrick's dagger. The squirrel? Do you cook the squirrel? Okay. Can I get you to make survival check, please? Everything is wet, hugely wet. So hard that, you know, it's hard to get a fire started. However, you sort of stray lightly from the tent. You do find behind some trees some area which was protected from the rain, which housed a good amount of kindling and good sized twigs, and you easily get a fire started, regardless of everything being wet. You begin to cook some breakfast, including the freshly killed squirrel. Your watch comes to an end, seemingly uneventful. Fresh squirrel awaits those who want to try it, and some of your rations and such like that. Uh, All right. Anyway, your day's rest finishes. Ready for a new day, but we'll leave the session there for next fortnight rather than continuing on. No, no. We'll do Monday. Could maybe do this Monday if everybody's ready. We were doing it on fortnights. Um, awesome. Cool. All right. Well, I've actually got a good amount of content prepared, and I'm not sure if I am needed on Monday. So let's aim for Monday coming. It's been a while since we had a couple of games in quick succession, and it sort of sucks having to try and remember everything that happened when we were like 3 weeks in between. So we'll go for Monday. We'll burn through what I've got prepared, and then if I need more time, I'll let you guys know, and we'll take the time accordingly. Essentially 3 weeks. Disappointed you guys smashed my ogres so quickly. Especially since you didn't have any preparation. They should have had the edge on you guys. No, they moved up pretty quick. Although maybe I should have had them throw their javelins right from the start. But that could have. Oh, next time. Okay. To be honest, you guys did a huge amount of damage in your first couple of hits, especially on the red ogre with a 17, 12, and then a 9 straight afterwards. Like you guys mostly up before then, aside from Chug getting massive smite damage, and then the odd sneak attack damage from Doderick. You guys mostly hit with like 6s and 7s. So when I had these guys and they had 61 health and 66 health, I was thinking it's going to take you ages to burn through these guys. And you did it in 3 turns, so that was bullshit. Oh, and by the way, your Eldritch Blast at the end was exactly enough to kill him. Like exactly, he had 13 health left, and I'm like, yeah, he gets away. Like, there's no way that you go, I do 13 damage. Like, oh, dead. Yeah. 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 So that's worked out great. Cool. I've resubbed to was it Dungeon Fog? So I should be able to build up some good maps, hopefully for the encounters to come ahead. And that's what I was. I actually also subscribed to Roll20 because apparently there's only a 100 meg limit on files, and I've hit that. And I don't really want to undo all the maps and such that I've got saved there, so I've done that as well. Yeah, but they'll delete them from my pages and setups and all that sort of stuff. And if you ever go back and revisit those areas, I'd like those maps to be ready with the way that you left them there, not having to remember to set them up. Yes, yes, please do. Complete a long rest. You're all good. I'll create the I'll create the orb of wizardry for you. Who was holding on to that? Sorry, you are. Yep. I think Dodrick. I think all three of you have first level spell slots. Yes. But as I haven't set it up, I allowed it to be used. So that's my fault. It should need to be attuned. It's not. Oh, actually no. It only gets one use a day. One person can use it a day. No, you can freely chuck it between us. I'll make that. It's only one person who gets it for a day. Play catch. Still so sad that my ogres did nothing. It did 6 damage. That's all they did. 6 damage. Yeah, yeah, I know, I know. I was tempted to put a couple more creatures into that combat, but those guys were the strongest that you've fought so far, in terms of challenge rating anyway. And I just wanted to sort of test and see where you go. Now, I think XP wise, they had 900 XP, which is I think a medium to hard encounter, by the D&D encounter maths and that sort of such. But hopefully it will ramp up a little bit. Now, on the flip side, I know you were now when you fought the rug, you're still level 3, weren't you? So I think you were level 3 for the rug. Oh, you might have been 2 actually. No, you must have been 2 because the rug was also a challenge rating of 2. Uh, but yeah, it seemed to do a lot better in terms of making you guys panic. the Yeah, so with the fire snakes, I agree. Last time that the fire snakes sort of felt a little bit out of place, so now there's a reason as to why they're around, just to sort of make them make sense. Oh, I was so gonna make you make another Constitution check, Chuck. I totally forgot. Oh, you're good. Why? Oh, you'd already eaten it. No, it was supposed. Oh, food poisoning isn't straight away. You eat it, and then unless it's like really bad, it sort of sits in there, and then it sort of just explodes out in both ends after an hour or two. Like it wasn't. It wasn't that long, and you did roll decently on the Constitution. Yeah, you did roll decently on the Constitution, and because you're a half orc, I set the DC a lot lower than say if Juan or Lefner had a go at it. So you basically hit right on the or just below the DC. So I wasn't going to make you feel sick straight away. I was going to bring it up a little bit later. Totally forgot. My bad. I'm not making that sort of game. Bad luck. So cool. You could have. Their wisdom and everything was crazy low. Now I have. What's my ogre? So their intelligence is 5. Their wisdom is 7. Their charisma is 7. So crazy, crazy low. Their strength, however, is massively high. So uh, yeah, they got some cool stuff. One of their abilities is legendary stupidity. Few ogres can count to 10, even with all their fingers in front of them. Most speak only in rudimentary form of giant and know a smattering of common words. These ogres were a little bit more intelligent with the common words. Uh, and ogres believe what they are told and are easy to fool and confuse, but they break things they don't understand. Silver-tongued tricksters who use their talents on these savages typically end up eating their own eloquent words, and in turn being eaten themselves. So, yeah, sure. Yeah. Unaffected. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Cool. Alright, Monday.